Good evening. Welcome to the session. Hope you are all fine. So, Vanshika, Jayavardhan, Hers, how many of you took PT this year? Jayavardhan, you did not take PT this year, I think. Vanshika, you took, na? How did you perform, Vanshika? To the extent economic questions are concerned, you might have found quite comfortable because most of them we had discussed in the classroom itself, our course. So, how did you find the questions? Good. All of the questions. Very good. Sonu, you won't be able to understand English, na? Anyway, I will try. So, this is a session on analysis of those questions which have been asked in this year's PT on economy exclusively. Okay? कोई बात नहीं सोनू, हम हिंदी ही बोल देंगे, ठीक है? Don't worry, हाँ? So here, before I begin our discussion, let me give you some idea about what is the activity presently which is new at an academy. To give you some idea what is new at an academy, just a highlight so that you can decide your course carefully in the coming days. Okay, these are the course highlights and the selections from the platform. 170 is still counting. Just have a look on this optional carnival. On 13th October, the new batch is commencing for 2021, 22 and 23. On 18th of October, CSC batch is commencing. The highlights are here, 2 years journey, the course details, names of the educators, the medium, everything is highlighted here. You can look into it. And this is how you can pick out of the two variety of subscription offer, Iconic and Plus. According to your need, I will advise you to pick the choices. Okay, coming to our question, okay, of today's discussion. If you ask me how were the questions, I found questions relatively easier. Much difficult questions have been asked in past few years only. What to ask of going back to 2010-11. Okay, since the new syllabus was prescribed in 2010, this year 15 questions have been asked on Indian economy. You cannot say they were all current. Okay, they were kind of mixed. Okay, they were kind of mixed questions. Questions are asked from the year 1994 also. Okay, this is what I normally say. Can never take it for chance ki what made new last year. Only questions can come from there. Okay. Questions, the multiple choice questions which we had here, they might have helped you because you learn trick and the knack to pick the right choice. Okay. सोनो बेसिकली ये स्पेशल क्लास सिर्फ इंग्लिश मीडियम है, एक्सक्लूसिव. ओके, सो द एनालिसिस मस्ट बी डन बाय एन एजुकेटर इन इंग्लिश. ठीक है. अब हिंदी माध्यम वालों के लिए सुनो, यू शुड रिक्वेस्ट, you should put your request, this request to an academy. Okay, so I was just telling ki never fool yourself. Your question will come from there only, this only, not this, not this, nothing kind of that. Okay, you should simply keep in mind ki general study, general study. Okay, though you read some specific books, you prepare certain magazines, newspapers, everything, but ultimately general studies is quite general. Okay, you will find ki great many of questions you can answer not by reading books or joining coaching institute only. You can crack those questions with the help of your own knack also. Okay, general understanding also. Anyway, okay. So this is what I wanted to say. Rest I will tell you when I will face the questions. Okay. So let me head on to the economic question. Though the list of questions here are from all areas, I will be dealing exclusively with economy. Okay, GS economy. So a total number of 15 questions have been asked from general studies, from economy in general studies. If you have a look on the trend, the trend has been like this. This is how economic graph has gone downward comparatively. If you compare here, you will find key from 2016 to 2011, number of questions have been 20 plus. Okay, you can call it around 25, but this year you see question dropping down to just 15. Okay, it hardly says anything. It simply informs you that weightage of questions from a particular section keep changing and keep varying. If you go into history of questions asked in PT on economy, so I have counted them to be up to 45. If 45 questions were asked on economy only, a little bit economic geography, resource economy kind of that, it means ki PT result was in one subject. You can just imagine ki all 45 out of 45 you corrected, you went for 40 answers correct, 40 questions, and 10 to 15 more questions from great many sections you are in. Okay, so this year it is 15 questions only. Okay, in some areas questions number have increased also, in other number have decreased also. For example, in geography it jumped from 8 to 12, 4 questions. It dropped down from 20 to 15. Environment, history, culture intact. Science, technology, 3 questions up. Current affairs, miscellaneous, 3 questions up. Basically it also depends on how you interpret a question, to which section it belongs. Okay, but anyway, this is a trend which you find over there. I always warn, don't try to search a trend in UPSC question and pattern, because there is no trend since 2010. You know, there were 3 reasons why syllabus was changed. One was this also. Let aspirants not be able to guess about a trend. That was one reason why syllabus was changed. Okay. Now, this is your general idea, okay, how the trend analysis, what it says. You can refer it. Now, coming to our questions. Okay. The questions we are discussing, they have been picked from they have been picked from booklet series A. Okay, it means our questions are based on booklet series A. It is written here. Okay, and numbers are being followed exactly. English and Hindi both are given. So don't worry. Swati, sir, did you get my email? Apologies for asking. No, Swati, I did not get any such email. When did you send that email? I didn't receive any such email. Swati, you belong to GS Economy course, 7 to 9 p.m. No, Swati, I did not receive. Hope you use the correct email ID, dr.rmss at the gmail.com. Anyway, so coming to the first question, okay? The question is, consider the following statement, okay? Also write down your mail again. I will reply you positively today itself after 9 p.m. Okay? You send me one email. So I am writing down my email for your age. This is my email ID. It is given in all of my books. Okay? So coming to this question, three statements are there. You have to pick correct ones out of this. The governor of RBI is appointed by central government. Okay, it is correct. And inside central government, it means basically Ministry of Finance. Clear? Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs. Certain provisions in the Constitution of India give the central government the right to issue directions to RBI in public interest. No, there is no such mention in Constitution. It is given in this act itself. Governor of the RBI draws his power from RBI Act. In RBI Act itself, there is a clause, that is clause 5. By invoking that clause, Government of India may issue certain directions to RBI. So from that point of view, correct answer will be statement 1 and 3 are correct. So this is the correct answer, C. Okay. Now the question is why this question was asked. So that's 3 years back. It means that this question is based on a Government of India action of 3 years back. In 2018, RBI was asked to surrender a part of its reserve cash to Government of India. Okay, and to do so, yes, Javardhan, Section 8, one clause of Section 8 was invoked by Government of India. Okay, rather in Constitution of India, you don't find any such mentioning. Okay, सुनो, आपको समझ में आया? बेसिकली हम बातों को इंग्लिश और हिंदी दोनों में नहीं बोल सकते. So in that case, this class will be going for 2 hours in place of 1 hour. Clear? हाँ, Urjit Patel was RBI governor by that time. Okay. Rather, this section and clause is there in RBI Act of 1949. You know कि RBI Act was passed for the first time in 1934. Okay, but after independence it was amended in 1949. It has been amended several times since then, but we still quote the main act, that is 1949. So C is its correct answer. Okay, let me move on, then I will take your queries and doubts also. Okay, this question is about casual workers. Okay, casual workers are those people who are working but not as a permanent staff. They are non-permanent. They are not coming every day, so they are kind of casual workers. So in case of this, all of the statements are correct. The question is quite factual. Okay, it is connected to labor law reforms of recent time. It means that this is connected to labor law reforms. Great many reforms have been done in recent time. Earlier, casual workers were not such an attention from Government of India. But now the story is that all casual workers are entitled for Employees Provident Fund. It is correct. All casual workers are entitled for regular working hours and cover overtime payment. Correct. No inhumanly treatment with the casual workers. The government can, by any notification, specify that an establishment of industry shall pay wages only through its bank accounts. Such capability and such powers are there available with Government of India. So its answer is D. All of the three statements are correct. Okay. Coming to next one. This question is on economic recession. This question belongs to business cycle. Okay. Business or economic cycle. And I usually discuss the stages of all stages of cycles: slowdown, slackness, recession, depression, stagnation, boom and bust, all phases. Okay. So this time a clear question was asked. Suppose economy is hit with economic recession. So which steps government might take? It is not asking to help economy recover out of recession. Question is simply put, which among the following steps is most likely to be taken at the time of an economic recession? No need to say recession is a bad thing. So which steps government will take to help economy recover, recovery of economic system? This is what the real question is. But I tell you, I have told you several times, many questions asked by UPSC question setters are basically not clear. They look incomplete. Okay? Questions look incomplete. But the challenge is that out of the incompleteness of the question, you have to reach the right choice. This is the challenge, because PT examination is not the exam of only knowledge. It is reasoning, it is common sense, it is time management, saving to go for negative marks, or everything is at test. Okay, it means your attitude are also being tested. Okay, so the question should have been this in the right format. If economy is hit with recession, to help economic recover out of it, which of the following steps look most useful? Like this. Okay. So cutting tax rates accompanied by increasing interest rate. First half is correct. Second half is incorrect. Otherwise, A would have been answered. Increase in expenditure of public projects. Just hold it. I will tell you. This will be the answer. Increase in tax rates accompanied by reduction in interest rate. No. Okay. Increase in tax rate, it will hit demand. If demand is hit, then even after cutting interest rate, people won't borrow, because cutting interest rate encourages borrowing by people from the banks. A reduction of expenditure on public projects. No. It is believed actually that recession is a situation when common people start spending less. The Keynesian formula is that if economy is hit with either slowdown, or recession, even depression, even depression. So what happened in all these phases? Demand goes down, demand goes down. People start spending less, companies invest less, company spend less on all front. So in such a situation, this was the advice which was given by John Maynard Keynes in 1930s early. This is the only formula which you can do. India is also hit with slowdown. It was already hit with slowdown. For few quarters, India remained in recession also in 2020-21 due to Corona pandemic. Okay, but even today, due to slowdown and recession, this is the only solution. That's why you see in case of India, multiple new projects have been announced by Government of India to encourage demand in the economy, so that economy can recover out of slowdown, because at present we are not hit with recession, we are hit with slowdown. So it is a general question. The question has not tried to connect to Indian economy, but you are supposed to connect. Why this question has been asked? Throughout latest economic survey and throughout latest economic budget, this issue has been raised. This issue, and a question is there in PT. Okay. Yes, Anurag, what do you want to say? Money multiplier. You asked, but you did not ask your question, Anurag. What do you mean by money multiplier? Do you want to know about it? So money multiplier, there was a question on money multiplier. Let that question come. Don't get impatient. Okay? The question will come. I have to discuss one by one all questions. Okay? So let me come down to that. Don't worry. Okay? So I hope no doubt on this. Coming to next question. This question is basically on demand and supply. Consider the following statement. Other things remaining unchanged. It means other variables are constant. Market demand for a good might increase if price of its substitutes increase, price of its complement increase. No, the good is an inferior good, and income of the consumers increase. No, if prices fall. So here the story is that key complement is kind of this. Okay, complementary thing. This cannot be the answer. Pizza base and cheese to be used on pizza, they are complementary goods. Okay, the good is an inferior goods. Inferior goods which are basically price inelastic. Demand goes up down, hardly matters, prices remain same. So this can't be the answer. Up now two choices. Price of its substitute increase. Suppose there are two goods, A and B. You can use either A or B. This is what we mean by substitute. If price of A has gone up, the people stop purchasing A little bit less. People will now go for B. This is what A is. One is the price of its substitute increase. A can be substituted by B. B can be substituted by A. Price of A has gone up. The people stopped buying it as much they were buying earlier. Now they are preferring B. And the last is a price fall. Demand of a commodity goes up if its price falls naturally. So in this case, answer will be 1 and 4. A. Answer will be A. Any doubts? Third point is about inferior goods. What are inferior goods? Inferior goods are those goods which demand, whose demands don't depend much on price. Okay, they are inferior goods. Clear? For example, salt, food grains. Okay, so these items are whatever be your income. If your income increases, so will you start consuming more salt? No, you will consume salt as much you need to consume. Getting me? So C, third won't be the answer. So 1 and 4, these two statements are correct. Okay. Basically, the question is simple, but the words which have been used, substitutes, they confuse you. What are substitute? Okay. So A and B are substitute. Two green vegetables are there. If one goes costly and another don't change price, the people prefer the cheaper one. This is what it is saying. Okay. And if prices fall, this is general dynamics. When price fall, demand goes up. When price goes up, price falls. Simple demand and supply mechanism. Okay. So this is question number 4. Coming to question number 5. That is about Urban Cooperative Bank. You saw in 2000, just in 2021, Government of India gave RBI a bit more power to regulate cooperative banks in India. After some scams, so you saw in case of Maharashtra, the PMC bank, you saw some hangama. So RBI was given enhanced power to regulate cooperative banks in India, which includes urban cooperative banks also. Okay. So the question is, with reference to UCBs in India, consider the following statement. 3 statements are given. You have to pick the correct ones. Okay. Answer is written. It is B. They are supervised and regulated by local boards set up by a state government, not only a state government. They are today supervised by a state government plus RBI. It means the cooperative banks are under dual regulatory control. Okay. They can issue equity shares and preference share. Okay, this is allowed. They were brought under the purview of Banking Regulation Act 49 through an amendment in, yes, it is also correct. This was amended to give RBI more power in 2020-21. Given directors, their posting, number of directors, loans given by such banks to their directors, all can be regulated by RBI, which was not earlier under regulatory control of RBI. I have covered this topic in my latest edition, 13th edition. Okay, and you can find matter in great many other books also. So its correct answer is basically 2 and 3. 1 is incorrect. Okay, because it is half correct. Rather, RBI is Cooperative Banks Regulator right since 1966 itself. Before that, only state governments used to regulate cooperative banks. Clear? So this question was factual, current, based on current policy change by Government of India. Okay. So see the nature of questions, how questions come and go. Coming to question number 6, it is government bond yields. I discussed this in my MCQ also and in my course also. Bond yield and interest on bond. Okay. Bond yield simply means basically interest paid on a bond, nothing else. Interest paid on a bond. Of the question is, Indian government bond yields are influenced by which of the following? The actions of United States Federal Reserve, correct? Because India is now more integrated to global financial system. The demand and supply of money in the global financial system and monetary system has its impact on interest rates in Indian financial system also. Actions of the RBI, correct. What actions RBI can take? It can cut interest rate, it can increase interest rate, it can change reserve ratios, okay, CRR, SLR, it can change policy rates, repo rate, reverse repo rate, MSF, and bank rate. Anything can be done. RBI may go for more open market operations, less operations. RBI may use a standing deposit facility scheme also. Multiple channels are there through which RBI can be active. And the last is inflation and short-term interest rate. Naturally, short-term means money market interest rate. Okay. Interest rate of money market, that is reverse repo rate, then all instruments of money market, CD, CP, CB, CMB, repo, all. Okay. So in that case here, the story is that all of the statements are correct. All have impact on bond yield. Okay. Up say, suppose you invested in a bond of 100 rupees on which you are being offered 5% interest rate. Due to some reasons, you are availing now 5.5% interest rate. This is basically bond yield rise. Bond yield rise. Interest बढ़ गया. And opposite to that, bond yield can fall also. It may fall down to 4.5%. This is bond yield fall. Clear? As yield goes up or down, price of bond also goes up or down. Okay? Bond price falls down if yield goes up and vice versa. Okay? Are you clear? Vanshika and Javardhan, we had discussed this thing in our course. Facing any doubt? So the interest rate going up, bond prices falling down, and interest falling down, bond prices go up. Clear? अब see the situation. You very well know कि most commonly selling bonds are basically G-Secs, in which banks are invested too much. Today, banks have invested around 33% of their total deposit in G-Secs of long term. Now, what happens? Suppose when they invested in G-Sec, suppose 50% of their investment was made when bond yield was 5%. Government started borrowing more to spend more. The bond yield will go up. So every 100 rupee bond, banks purchase in 95 because interest was 5 plus 5, it will become 100. But when government start borrowing more, so this interest rate will become, may suppose 6 rupees, 6%. So this will fall down to 94. So bank will lose money. 1 rupee, 1% loss is incurred by bank. Those who will buy bond today, they will get 1% additional interest. But those who have already invested in these bonds, they will book 1% loss, as in case of bank. Clear? So surprising situation Indian financial is stuck. Banks have invested as much money in government security, 33%. And 1% of bank deposit today of Indian banking industry is around 1.35 lakh crore. You just multiply it with 33. This is the money which banks have invested. If RBI allows bond price, bond yield to go rise, you can just imagine the loss incurred by banks. Already banks are faced with high NPA, provisioning norms against NPA, then compulsion to comply to Basel III norms. This is third danger which may make banks completely financially unviable. Okay? So RBI keeps careful and RBI keeps attentive. Bond yield should not rise. But here question was very simple. It was not complex. It was simply being asked कि prevailing interest rate on government bonds, which of the following has impact or have impact on it? All three have impact on it. Okay? So D is its answer. Okay? Coming to next one. This is good question. Okay? Consider the following. Foreign currency convertible bonds. So it is nothing but a bond. Foreign institutional investment with certain conditions. This is actually foreign portfolio investment, FPI. Gold depository receipts. It is nothing but share investment. And non-resident external deposit. This is bank deposit, bank account. Those open the bank who are non-resident Indians, NRIs. Okay? Now, question is that which of the above can be included in foreign direct investment. Direct investment, not indirect. Okay. So this question is actually being asked from India's current and capital account. Which of the following, which of the above can be included in foreign direct investment? This is the question. Okay. Direct investment, not indirect. Okay. Answer is given, that is B. Only third. Do you think it is so? Answer should be A. Vansika is saying A. 1, 2, 3. Foreign currency convertible bonds. Foreign institutional investment with certain conditions. Are you clear, Vanshika, what this condition means actually? Global depository receipts. Second is basically foreign portfolio investment with a difference, that is certain conditions. I will let you know what exactly this condition means. And non-resident external deposits. Which one you can count as foreign direct investment? Okay. Only three. You mean this? You mean this is correct answer, na? Anurag is saying only three. How, Anurag? Can you explain? What is FDI and what is, you know, ki foreign investment could be of two kinds. Foreign investment could be of two kinds. One is basically direct and another is indirect. Every investment which is indirect, they are basically investment in shares and debts. This is basically debt, but this can't be the answer. Coming to global depository receipt, it is similar to ADRs, American Depository Receipts. Foreigners are allowed to invest in India's share market, but this can't be the answer. Non-resident external deposit, this is loan given to you. This is loan. This is not investment, direct investment. Banks have accepted deposit, this is loan. Now one choice is there, B, about which you need to understand. See the story. Actually, in indirect way, the investment which institutions do, they are known as foreign portfolio investment. But a law was introduced in 2011-12 itself by Manmohan Singh government. If in a particular company, share is purchased by a foreigner, minimum 10% of the total share, and the person remains invested with 3 years, this won't be considered FDI. That will rather it will be known as foreign direct investment. So 2 looks the answer, correct answer. Now the problem is that exclusively 2 is not here. Global depository receipts are nothing. Share investment by global citizens in Indian security market. It can never be FDI. Okay. FDI. Okay. Coming to direct, let me give you some hint. Ki a foreign company comes, purchases land and sets up a new plant. This is foreign direct investment. It can be from 26% to 49% to 74% to 100%. Anything is possible. Okay. Then FDI can come in brownfield also. You might have heard about brownfield because this is new, greenfield. Brownfield, suppose Tisco. a foreign company has purchased 30% share or 51% shares of Tisco. So this is brownfield FDI. None you find here in this example. A third one is this, with certain conditions. So two will be the answer. Now the problem is that you have no choice where two is given alone. So this question is naturally doubtful. What has gone wrong? A question setter has confused the question in between external debt of India and foreign direct investment. Okay, direct investment cannot be in shares or debt. So from that point of view, this is cancelled, this is cancelled, and this is cancelled. Only two should be answered, but there is no two. Now the problem is that two is either here or here. So which looks basically safer? Which looks safer? So for me, answer should be C, because B you are talking about three. Three is global depository. This is share investment by foreigners. You can search also. I think it should be given on Google also. I did not search because I went for my knowledge. Okay, global depository receipt. Yes, this is a share investment. The problem is this. Okay, so this is a share investment. Clear? And in India, investment in share, until these conditions are not met, these conditions are not met, they are all and all indirect. They cannot be direct. Okay? So this question can be called a confusing question. Now you need to guess what correct answer UPSC might have ticked. Okay? The question setter, what setter might have gone for the correct answer. So this is a bit dicey. So one question can be considered a doubtful question. Did you understand? What Walmart? Anurag? What did you ask about Walmart? Okay. Walmart is presently working in India in wholesale, not in retail. Okay. Walmart is there in India, but they cannot sell directly any item to you as Amazon does, because Amazon is in retail business and Walmart is in wholesale business. Okay. Walmart is in wholesale business since long. Okay. I gave you multiple examples here. Purchasing land, setting up a new company, it is typical nature of FDI. But even existing company can have FDI. Suppose 51% share somebody purchased, okay, or minimum 10% of total share in a company purchased by FPI, that is considered FDI. This is what statement 2 is, certain conditions. Clear? So this is a controversial question. Coming to the next one, effect of devaluation. Devaluation doesn't occur in case of India now. In case of devaluation, what occurs? Depreciation. But impact is actually same. Devaluation used to occur in case of India till 1992-93, because after this year, India entered into floating currency regime in which depreciation occurs, devaluation doesn't occur. Okay. So the question is, first you have to consider the three statements and then you have to pick the correct ones out of them. The effect of devaluation of a currency is that it necessarily improves the competitiveness of the domestic exports in foreign market. This is correct, exactly correct. Increase the foreign value of domestic currency, it is incorrect. It occurs when it is appreciation. appreciation, not in case of depreciation. Third is improves the trade balance. It confused great many people. Trade balance might improve, might not improve. It depends. Okay. So 1 and 3, already there is no choice. 1 has to be there, certainly. So the answer will be A. Okay. Had there been a choice, 1 and 3, then people must have been confused too much, because they would have been eager to go for 1 and 3 both. Still, people were confused. Those who were doubtful a little bit about this, they went for only this. Okay. They took after effect of devaluation, ultimate end result. And you will know in case of India, in case of India, depreciation helps export, but depreciation doesn't help India to import less. So net impact is that in case of India, trade balance doesn't improve, it even deteriorates, because in volume of foreign trade, import is bigger in size and export is smaller in size. As much benefit we get, as much benefit we get out of export, more loss we incur due to high value of imports. Because rupee has lost value, the imports will get costlier. Your exports will become cheaper for foreign buyers, but the imports which you do, they will become costlier. Up in our foreign trade, around one third is export and two third is import. So big gain in export is counterbalanced by a small loss in case of import. This is typical case of India. But in case of a typical developed country, situation is just opposite. Okay, their trade balance also becomes positive. So by chance, 1 and 3 was not the choice. Since this choice was not there, I will say that this question was asked on either India or developing countries. Okay, developing countries. Had there been choice 1 and 3, this question has been on typical developed country. Okay, so this question looks very easy. It is not as easy as it seems. It is very difficult question. And this is one step advanced question. Such question was never asked in APS CPT. Okay, this is a bit modified question. Coming to the next one. Which of the following effects of creation of black money in India has been the main cause of worry to the government of India? Naturally, D is the answer. No confusion. Diversion of resources to purchase of real assets and investment in luxury housing. No, you can do. India is a free country. You can do anywhere. Investment in unproductive activities and purchase of precious stones, jewelry. Government basically discourage them, but government is not worried. Clear? Large donations to political parties, never, nothing. They are basically simple diversions. You were tried by questions to get diverted. Loss of revenue to a state exchequer due to tax evasion. Okay, simply put. But it was theoretical question based on black money, parallel economy, government of India actions, the reasons for concerns, everything should be known. Only then you can crack this. Okay, it is connected to taxation and government budgeting. The next question, which of the following is likely to be the most inflationary in effect? Man, which of the following, if those actions are taken, they will be having highest impact on price? Man, it will increase inflation upward. This is the question. Repayment of public debt. No, you have already taken the loan. By repaying loan, you are not going to create anything bad. Borrowing from the public to finance a budget. No, money in the system remains as much it used to be. Earlier, the money was with public. Now it is with government. No size change in the circulation of money or money supply. Borrowing from the banks to finance a budget deficit. No, this is what market borrowing is. Government keeps doing that. One is there, that is creation of new money to finance budget deficit. This is printing. This is printing of cash. Why this question was asked? On government budgeting, Confederation of Indian Industry suggested government of India that government should simply print around 3 lakh crore rupees and distribute the money among middle income group, middle class, to support demand. This suggestion came just few months back. Government did not pass any comment. So this question is basically put on that news. Clear? US have been doing that since long. Okay, they have a tradition of doing this since early 1930s itself, when US got hit with Great Depression of 1929. Okay, so answer is D. Coming to next question. This question is about money multiplier. Okay, money multiplier. I hope you know money multiplier is M3 divided by M0. Okay, which is presently around 5.5 for India according to latest volume of economic survey. Okay. So now the question is that increase in cash reserve ratio is what diversion. Clear? Because if CRR goes up to M3 and M0, what will happen? RBI will have a bit more money. Increase in the statutory liquidity of ratio. If A will be correct, then B will be correct. So automatically A and B are cancelled very simply, because the thing which CRR can do, exactly same SLR will do. So nothing can be answered. Increase in banking habits of the people, yes. An increase in the population of the country, no. Population doesn't give any guarantee कि people will start depositing more money in the system. It means कि neither M3 has any impact nor M0 has any impact. Clear? So in that case, if people started spending less, if people started spending less and saving more, so they can save either in demand deposits or time deposit. Both will have M3 go up. If people in place of saving more started spending more, the M3 will fall down. M3 will fall down or go up. This is what basically difference it will make on money multiplier. Because what is money multiplier? This is money multiplier. Money multiplier was in news and discussed by economic survey this year thoroughly. The reason was that the banks have deposited around 33% in basically GSEC as well as reverse repo with bank, too much money. That's why India's money multiplier effectively falls down to only 4.8. This is the situation. Prima facie, it looks this much. But if you deduct the money which banks have parked with RBI under reverse repo route, then it is only 4.8%. I have discussed about this in my book. This data is also there. So these questions are directly from there. Okay, economic survey. I don't mean my book. Okay, directly from economic survey and RBI document. Okay. So C is its correct answer. Next is basically with reference to Indian economy, demand pull inflation can be caused increase by which of the following? Demand pull inflation is simply mismatches. Mismatches between demand and supply. Demand going up or supply going down. Demand coming down or supply going up. This is what we mean by mismatches between demand and supply. Mismatches between demand and supply. Okay. Now, which of the following will have impact on demand pull inflation? And which of the following acts will change either demand or supply? First is expansionary policy. When government spends more or when RBI cuts interest rate, this will be correct. Fiscal stimulus is government support to people, middle class, tax breaks, okay, cheap loan or interest-free loan. So second will be correct. Inflation index bond, correct, incorrect. Inflation index bond doesn't increases anybody's income. Inflation index wage is that if somebody was earning 100 rupees per day when inflation was 5%, when inflation became 6%, so that guy started earning 101 per day. This is inflation index wage. So it don't have any impact because money will buy as much it was buying earlier. 101 someone is earning per day, but he will be able to buy goods of 100 rupee only. High purchasing power, this is correct. Due to any reason, people started getting more purchasing power. They will create more demand, demand pull inflation, rising interest rate cuts demand. So its answer will be 1, 2, and 4 only. Clear? Velocity of money is different thing. Consult book. Okay. Coming to again investment in India's security market. This question has been asked on security market of India. Okay. A retail investor through Demat account can invest in treasury bills and Government of India bond security in primary market. This was announced by Government of India in 1718. Negotiated dealing system order matching is a government security trading platform of RBI. Yes, it is this. It was put in place by RBI in 2002, like other central banks of the world. Central Depository Service Limited is jointly promoted wrong. It was set up by BSE and now it is owned by BSE, HDFC Bank, Canada Bank, and Standard Chartered Bank. So its answer will be only 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Third is incorrect. Clear? This is Asia's first depository which went live on NSE 2017, listed as a public limited company. Okay. So this is question from security market. On security market, great many questions have been asked this year, which people generally avoid, and inflation and banking industry. Water credit. Water credit is simply connected to rural areas setting up water and sanitation plants and projects. Water credit is connected to that, and 2 is simply diversion. Some people might go for this because WHO was in news. The water credit they might connect with hand washing, okay, hand washing, and they will go for due to corona for 2 also, and they will go for 1, 2, 3. Rather, its correct answer is basically 1 and 3 only, that is C. It puts microfinance tools to work in water and sanitation sector, correct? It aims to enable poor people to meet their water needs without depending on subsidies, correct? And it is Government of India's aim to cut subsidy but don't compromise with the quality of the people, okay? This is how things move. Coming to the next one and probably our last question. Huh. This is from functions of RBI. I every year repeatedly say if functions of RBI should never be avoided. This has been one of the most favorite areas from where setters pick questions in PT. Okay, multiple functions are there. One function is lender of last resort. Okay, people confuse it with banker of the government. Okay, lending to trade and industry bodies when they fail to borrow from other sources, completely incorrect. Providing liquidity to the banks having a temporary crisis, it is correct. Lending to government to finance budgetary deficit, no, this is optional. This was monetized deficit earlier, but till 2011-12, now it has been closed down. So only 2 will be its answer, that is B. Clear? RBI has got 2 functions. One is basically banker of the government. Banker of the government. It simply means today managing the portfolio of government loans. Here government means Government of India. But practically Even private sector, even state can borrow with the help of RBI, with the help of Government of India from RBI. And the second is basically, you might have read about banker of the bank. Banker of the bank is another function that is also known by other word, lender of the last resorts. When nobody is going to lend banks, then they can borrow from RBI. If they need short term, they will pay interest, that is repo rate. If they borrow for long term, they will pay bank interest rate, that is known as bank rate. Clear? This is about this year questions. So for me, questions were not easy. I will call basically this year's exam my my put on this year's exam. Okay, कि by face looking easy, but vague and dicey. Okay, this is my put. But still, those who are smarter, they could have gone for 15 out of 15 correct. It is very much possible. Okay, thank you and good night. Hope you enjoyed the discussion. Okay, if you have any query, you can write me down also. If you have to ask something, this is my email ID. I can address your query by replying you through mail also. Okay, thank you and good night.